to us by St. Luke. We have another version given to us by St. Matthew in his Gospel. They may be parallel. If you look at them, they can be compared side by side, but there are also differences. For one, St. Matthew did not have the second part like St. Luke, who gave the list of woes when he said, "Alas for you who are rich, alas for you who are filled now," etc. But the first part is the same. Happy are you who are poor. In this version, happy are you who are poor. For example, in the version in St. Matthew, happy are you who are poor in spirit. You shall have the kingdom of heaven. Right, so I'll focus today on this version by St. Luke. Just wanted to share at the beginning that there are two versions in case you say, how come I remember something else? In the list of the Beatitudes given by Jesus in St. Luke, it is very interesting because we can divide up the two parts as I mentioned. The first part is on the blessedness. How happy are you? How blessed are you? There are four in that list. It's a set of four, and another set of four on the woes or alas for you. From the outset, I want to share with all of us and point out that these blessedness and woes, these are not blessings and curses, in case we mix them up. Blessing and curses are, for example, what we find in today's first reading from the prophet Jeremiah. A curse on the man who puts his trust in man, who relies on things of flesh, etc. And then second part, a blessing on the man who puts his trust in the Lord. There is the curse and blessing. It is as if they are repercussions for choosing option A and another kind of repercussion when we choose B. And something will happen to us. Yes, it is true, in the Beatitudes, we also will experience the consequence of living any of these states of life. But it is not so much blessings or curses, but those found in the Gospel by Jesus. These are kind of statements or expressions of what is happening at that moment. I'll give you an example. When we say, how happy are you who are poor? When Jesus said this, He's saying that those of you who are poor, you are blessed now. He's not saying, if you are poor now, don't worry, I will bless you, and next time you'll be rich. No, He's saying, you who are poor now, it is a statement of what is already happening. Happy are you hungry now? Blessed if you are hungry now. And we go down the list, the second part, alas for you who are rich, alas for you when you're filled now, etc. It is more an expression of grief. Right? The word that is we use in English is alas for you or woe to you. Right? There are two different translations in English. The original Greek is this word that is pronounced I don't know how to pronounce it, why, something like that. The why, it's just an expression. But that is an expression of grief. Like for example, we have in colloquial Singlish, we also have many expressions. Ayah, right? That is a kind of expression. For example, wow, you don't study, tomorrow exam, tonight you still don't study, ayah, you should fail. Right? Or if we can expand Singlish, it's like, oh, jalan, or xiao liao, right? That's what we say. It's an expression. It is not a curse. When I see my brother not studying for tomorrow's exam, I'm not cursing him to fail, but I'm stating the fact that I'm expressing my grief on his laziness and his attitude of taking the exam for granted and saying, oh, brother, die, tomorrow you should fail. Can you see? It's an expression of grief of the current state, not so much a curse of what is to come. If you understand this, then we can go into each of this, the list. And if we kind of put them side by side, I mentioned the list of blessedness are 4, a set of 4, and the list of woes are a set of 4. And actually, they are parallel. I will go through I'll go through one of each, and then I'll go to second and third and fourth, right? To see how they are in parallel. So the first one, Jesus said, how happy you who are poor. Jesus said, you are poor, you are blessed now. But in the second list, he said, alas for you who are rich. Now you have your consolation. Alas is an expression of grief. Why? Because you may not continue to experience this richness. You may be poor later. Maybe, but we'll see how. So you can see that these are parallel. And secondly, how happy are you who are hungry? And then the second list is, alas for you who have your fill now, right? Hunger and being full. And then happy are you who weep, versus alas for you who laugh now. And then fourth in the list, happy are you when people hate you, drive you out, abuse you, denounce you, versus alas for you when the world speaks well of you. Now, if you look at the list, we will say that actually it is the other way around, isn't it? When we are full, we should be blessed. And when we are hungry, we should not be blessed. We should have grief. But that is what Jesus is saying. There's a whole reversal of the order. Why? Because the 4 in the list are earthly concerns. These are earthly concerns. For example, the first in the list, when we examine happy you who are poor, or whether alas for you who are rich, these are our material, either material lack, or material poverty, or material fulfillment. When we are rich, we are materially rich, we are materially fulfilled. Right? So the first in the list is about material poverty or material fulfillment. The second in the list, happy are you who are hungry, or alas for you who have your fill, it's about what is hungry and what is full. Right? It's not just about material fulfillment. When we eat, when we feel full, it has to do with our senses. Right? Food is just used as a symbolic representation of all the senses. So the second in the list is about sensual poverty or sensual fulfillment. When I say sensual, means to say fulfillment or poverty of the senses. We have 5 senses, right? We have eyes, we have sight, we have smell, we have taste, we have hearing, we have touch, right? We as human beings have a tendency to want something that is sensually pleasurable. We like to see things that are beautiful and not things that are ugly. We like to listen to music that is nice and not noise that is not nice. We like to smell things that are nice. That's why we like perfume, right? And not stay and do our work in a toilet cubicle because it's smelling. Right? So we also taste, we also like to eat delicious food and touch. These are our senses. For example, sex is one very good example of our sensual pleasure. But we, as human beings, we have this tendency to pursue things that are fulfilling to our senses. Nothing wrong, because we are human beings and we have senses. It's okay to listen to good music and not trash. But the question is, are we pursuing all these? Are we pursuing to fulfill pleasures of our senses so much so that we are doing it at the expense of what is more important? Right? So that is why sensual fulfillment or sensual poverty is a concern at the earthly level. That's the second in the list. The third in the list. Happy you who weep now, or alas for you who laugh now. This is, we can categorize them, this is emotional poverty or emotional fulfillment. Nobody wants to cry. Nobody wants to be sad. Nobody wants to be angry. Everybody wants to be happy and joyful and satisfied. Right? But sometimes some emotions are what drives us. We just want to be happy to the point of if let's say we experience obstacles or challenges and we become sad, we run away from them, right? We do other things to make us happy. We change the chemical compound in our head, right? Maybe by doing something or taking something, right? To mask the sad reality that we experience. But earthly life, we have the highs and lows. But in today's world, we notice we run away from the lows and we always want to experience high, right? So emotion, we also want to be happy. It's sad only, I cannot be sad. I think it's sad that we cannot be sad, isn't it? Right? So there is emotional fulfillment or emotional well-being. That still, it is an earthly concern. And the fourth on the list is happy you, people who hate you, drive you, abuse you, versus alas for you who speaks well of you. This is our social concern, our social poverty. We have a tendency to want to be like others. When we hear people talking good things about us, we want to hear more. There's this saying, it says, people ask for feedback, but actually all they want to hear are compliments. Isn't it true? And say, give me feedback. Actually all we want is people to praise us, right? And we run away from people who hate us. So these social concerns, these are all earthly concerns. Again, nothing wrong. While we are still on earth, these are important. Right? It's good to have friends who accept us. It's good to smile and laugh, to be happy. It's good to experience sensual pleasures, to eat nice food, to listen to good music. It's good to be rich and not poor, and not in one thing. Good. These are good, but not the best. And when we pursue these goods in experience of the best, that becomes a problem, right? And so that is why these lists are lists of earthly concerns. When we are in the Lord and when we are disciples of the Lord, if we are poor, because these are earthly matters, it's still fine. We can still be blessed because this is not as important as our spiritual richness. And so, to transform, we who are poor, to transform to the second part of the list, for example, the second part of the list, the second part of the sentence, Jesus said, how happy you who are poor, yours is the kingdom of heaven, to experience the promise, the second part. It means that we must put heavenly concern above earthly concerns. And I just want to use the first reading to express this. I talked about the first reading, let's go back again to the first reading. First reading, the Lord, through the prophet Jeremiah, reminds us, curse on the man who puts his trust in man, who relies things of flesh. Curse on the man who relies on man who puts his trust in man. My dear friends, those of us, we know when we put our trust in another human beings, not that God will curse us, but we will experience pain. Even though the person is the best person eventually. Because the other person is flesh and blood like us, because the other person is a wounded person like us, eventually we will be sad, will be disappointed, will be hurt, will experience pain. These are real. Right? 2 days ago, the world remembers or celebrate, I don't want to use the word celebrate because not everybody celebrates Valentine's Day, but it was 14th of February, Valentine's Day. That day is full of emotions. They are the good and the bad. Not because those people who are attached, the couples, they experience good, and those who are single, they experience no, of course not. They are mixture of everything. The couples who are good to each other, they are happy, I'm good for them, I'm happy for them. But there are couples who are also struggling in their own ways, and that is painful for them, right? Just because the man, for example, forget the date, the woman, I don't know, go on and go, so on and so forth, right? Even for singles, right? That day is painful for many singles. They look at their friends. These pain are real. The feeling of hurt, disappointment, sadness, these are real. But there are also some singles who know better and say, oh, I'm happy, I'm not like them. No, I'm just quoting a song. Okay, I'm not stating it as a fact. This is a song, I'm just quoting. It says something like, no women, no something like that. I don't want to continue. I'm not saying that. I'm just quoting the title of the song. You know, some people think like that. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter whether we are attached or not attached. On Valentine's Day, it is a day of pain. Why? Even those who are married, they experience pain because they put their trust in another human being. And those who are single are also in pain because their happiness is based on another human being. My happiness, my meaning in life depends on that person, whether that person loves me or not. And if the person doesn't love me, then I'm disappointed. Then can you see the problem here, my friends? It is only because we put our trust in another human being who will fail us. Of course, who will fail us. I mean, you know, speaking of Valentine's Day, you know, sometimes you will love me, you know, this song to say, again, I'm quoting song. People say things like, oh, you are my everything. I can't live without you. Right? There's this song, I can't live without you. Right? They met the girl 2 years ago and they can't live without the person. Even 2 years before that, they were dead, no one. Right? They were alive, right? Before the girl came to the life, they were alive, what? They can't actually live. To say, imagine someone telling you, you are my everything. Do you know the burden on our shoulders? I mean to say, we do something wrong the other person is going to cry. You know how heavy responsibilities are? Right? Because we are not God. We cannot carry the burden of another person on our shoulder. We also have our own burden. Then another person says, oh, you're my everything. The double burden. Right? It's a bit unfair to say that to another person. Right? And that's why I'm just pointing the fact that, you know, sometimes we put our trust in another human person. And that's why we experience all this. Jesus, the Lord, through Prophet Jeremiah, tells us, blessing on the man who puts his trust in the Lord, who has the Lord for his hope. And this year we celebrate the Jubilee year of hope. What does it mean to trust? To trust means we have no idea what's going on. We have no idea what's going to happen the next minute. We have no idea where we are. Right? Time-based situations, circumstances, we don't know. But we only know one person. The person who is guiding us. If we put our confidence in the person who guides us, it doesn't matter where we are, it doesn't matter where we stand, it doesn't matter what's going to happen the next minute, because the person whom we have confidence in will be there to protect us from harm. And can another human person assure that of our life? Of course not. Only God can do that. And therefore we place our trust and confidence in God who is divine. And when we do that, my dear friends, then we place our trust in the Lord, then we can go back to the Beatitudes and say, yes, now Jesus, I understand. When you say that even when we are poor, we are happy, of course, because I trust Him. Even when I'm crying, I'm sad, I'm disappointed, I'm hurt now, it's okay, I can still laugh because I trust Him. Even when I'm hungry now, it's fine, I'm happy. I can be satisfied because I trust in Him. And even if I have no one else in this world, everybody seems to hate me, it's fine. Because I know I am the beloved and you are my only lover. Because we put our trust in the Lord. My dear friends, if you have forgotten everything I just said for the past 15 minutes, just remember this. Today's reading reminds us to place all our trust in the God who never ever fails us. Amen.